big reason why I have this success in this league. You know, he was the first coach that called me in the game my rookie year. So, you know, I have a lot of trust in him, and he has a lot of trust in me at the same time. And, you know, next man up, you know, Queso had a great game last game, and he hit some big shots. So he had to make the right move for the team, and I stand by that as well. So, you know, everybody on the team got to stay ready. He went back to me today in the fourth. I had to stay ready, and I was, you know, I was out there playing hard.
And plenty of the conversation surrounding you guys into the postseason was, you know, whether you guys could, especially the series, whether you could, you know, match the sort of experience Denver has and sort of win clutch games. Just knowing what you did down the stretch and seeing a shot Dub hit, shot Shea hit, like what's going through your head as it's unfolding?
We getting better, honestly. You know, it was kind of hard this season to prepare for those type of moments. You know, there's a lot of games. We didn't have a lot of close games during the season, but you know, it's happening in the postseason, and we ready. We getting better. You know, after every game we watch film and we see some of the stuff we can get better at, especially from the first game and the third game and the fourth game, whatever. But we just getting better, and we see some of the stuff we can get better at.
Andrew, go ahead.
Lou, where does your fearlessness as a shooter come from? You've had a lot of playoff games where you've taken a lot of threes, and you know, moments up and down for you even in this series. But where does that fearlessness come from for you?
Honestly, the work. You know, I put a lot of work in. I work on those type of shots. You know, I've been in those situations before. I've been the worst. So, you know, I just got to keep believing in myself. My teammates have my backs all the time. You know, I had a great year shooting the three this year, so I got to keep believing and keep trusting it, and you know, I'll keep doing that.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Hey, Lou, Mark was saying that you guys aren't out to answer any outside questions in these playoffs, but the way that you guys have won these last two games, have you guys internally gotten any answers about yourselves, just what this team is about, anything like that?
Honestly, we just gotta execute, play our game. You know, it's a tough team, a lot of experience. They know what they're doing. So, like I said, we getting better from the previous game. We just gotta stay confident, stay at it, and just execute our stuff, and we'll be fine.
Lou, defensively, just chasing a guy like Jamal around all series. I know you guys are obviously close. What's that been like, just competing against him in this series?
Competing, like you said, he's a tough player. He's gonna make a lot of tough shots. Yeah, he's a good player. I just gotta make everything tough, honestly. You know, keep my pressure, contest everything, but you know, we just gotta go out there and compete.
Yeah, Lou, you hit those 3 threes, and you guys were down 9, and you hit the 3 threes in a very short span. Besides getting the score close or caught up, what did you sense as how important that was to the momentum, the confidence, just the spirit of your teammates, the crowd, everybody?
So, yeah, like you said, a little bit of everything. Honestly, they had it going. They was hitting some tough shots. They was making their runs, but you know, us on the bench, timeouts and all that, we kept talking to each other, saying that we good, that we can fight through this. And we just kept trusting each other, moving the ball and finding the right shots. And you know, I was open for some of them, and I made them. But it was great from, you know, the team and the crowd at the same time.
Go to Michael Martin.
Lou, you sort of touched on both, but AC's talked about the amnesia you need to have as a great defender. You talked about how Jamal's going to make great shots, but you sort of have to just wipe that. The same with offense, of just sort of your confidence. Where does that sort of mental fortitude and strength come from, and how have you built that up of being able to just wipe away bad possessions on either end?
Yeah, like I said, the work, the experience I went through, you know, my first playoff experience, it was kind of like that, where you know, I wasn't that good of a shooter, but now I just got to keep trusting it. You know, I spend a lot of time in the gym. I got to trust from my teammates, from my coaches. So, you know, just really reading the game and let the game come to me, honestly. But you know, I gotta stay confident.
Luke, you're involved in a lot of those pick and rolls with Jokic and the physicality between the two of you just going on this entire series. Like, are you surprised about how he can show up like in a fourth quarter like this, just in the physicality he's playing with and just his energy level going up? I mean, obviously you go back and forth with him. You're physical with him.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's been in those situations before. He know what to do. He's a big guy, really physical. So we just gotta match that. Obviously, he's way taller than me, so I'm trying my best to battle with him. But I know. But yeah, it's not me. Honestly, it's just credit to Jay Will, Hart, and Chad, and all the guys that we throw at him. But like you said, he's a great player, and he's gonna make a lot of tough shots.
Thank you, Lou.
Mark, whether it be the extra passing, the team defense, the rotations, just tell me about the level of trust that this team exhibited tonight in a gut check game.
Yeah, great job hanging in there. First of all, we didn't play great. We were a little sloppy in the first half on both ends of the floor. That was as loose as we've been defensively, really since game one, or maybe worse than game one. I'll have to watch it, but to hang in there the way we did and get back on track was impressive. And then I thought we closed really well. Both ends of the floor, high level of connection. Guys played great.
Mark, you went away from Lou late last game. He doesn't start the fourth, but you go to him and he plays the rest of the way, hits 3 threes, saves some pretty huge possessions. Can you describe your faith in him?
Yeah, I don't bet against Lou. It's that simple. He's just got an unbelievable. There's just a special thing about him. He's always going to stand back up. He's not perfect, but he's always going to respond. He's always going to compete. You always can count on him to do that. And I don't like betting against that guy.
And all series we've asked you about your comparative experience and clutch time minutes. And for my money, it feels like you just clutched up maybe the biggest game in this building. Just what are your thoughts going down the stretch? And I guess how do you feel about your team in clutch time?
I mean, the close games are, first of all, our execution was excellent. I thought we executed as well as we have, in the playoffs. Down the stretch of a close game, we had a couple in Memphis, and then we had the few here. And our execution was very good. But at the end of the day, those games can come down to one shot, one play. It could go either way. So you can't overreact to the outcome. I just thought our process tonight down the stretch was excellent. We got into stuff. We were organized on both ends of the floor, no breakdowns, and strong execution.
I think going into the fourth quarter, you're 7 of 20 from 3. Then Lou hits 3 in that 2-minute stretch, and then you close with J-Dub and Shea hitting big threes. Was that just what the defense gave those guys? I mean, what turned it around from distance for you here?
I mean, Lou, stepped in with confidence and made big shots during that stretch. That was huge because we were, down whatever we were, 9 or 10 around that time. The 2 down the stretch, Shea's just taking what they gave him. He was clean on that one. He didn't force that. It was a great rhythm shot. And the dub one was a great early pass by Shea, extra by Lou, to generate a really good look. So, like I said, I thought our process down the stretch on both ends of the floor was really, really clean.
Quick follow-up on Jalen Williams. Jay Will gave you a nice little spark in the third quarter. Then you subbed him in with Chad after Lou hit that first 3 with about 8 minutes left. A couple of rebounds, a couple of good defensive possessions on Joker, and then a couple of nice passes too. What did you think about his minutes and how big was he tonight?
Yeah, he was huge. He's been huge in this series, but Hart in the first quarter, I let his stint linger too long. We're trying to keep these guys fresh, especially the guys that are handling the major matchups. And so that was on me, and getting to him earlier in both the third and fourth and keeping everybody fresh for Jokic was a huge point of emphasis. So, but he stepped up. I mean, Jalen is a unbelievable competitor. He made big time plays. He had a great pass to Chet there down the stretch, and played great D on Jokic.
Mark, 6 to 8 wins, all the good things that happened this season, but a lot of people question just inexperience and everything else, and playoff, I guess, toughness, whatever. You guys are trading licks back and forth in that fourth quarter. What does a game like this do to answer some of those critics, and what does it just do for the confidence of the team overall?
Yeah, we don't play to answer anybody. We just play for one another, for our fans. The guys have an unbelievable connection in the locker room. That's enough for us. And they've had an unbelievable spirit. That's why they've accomplished what they've accomplished to this point. And it's why they show the type of resolve on a night, like I said, that we, for a lot of that game, we didn't have our fastball, but we hung around long enough and showed great will and connectedness down the stretch.
Mark, this is now back-to-back games of really impactful minutes from that trio of Kaysen, Caruso, and Wiggins. What is it about those three guys in particular that allows them to play so well together and sort of amplify each other?
I just think, first of all, they're all like team first guys. The whole team is, but those guys are team first guys. They compete together. They complement one another's with their skills. Kaysen and Caruso defensively, there's a great contrast there. They bring different things to the table, but they really play together. They have great chemistry out there, but all the guys do. But that unit was big in the second quarter. They kind of stabilized the game for us, and then obviously gave us good minutes in the second half.
Coach, what did you see from Joker in terms of energy? I mean, he did look just worn slick in that last game, and tonight not only does he make everything, but he looks like there was plenty of energy.
He responded like great players respond to adversity. Like we knew coming into the game that we were going to get a very, very potent version of him, and we did. He was decisive and quick and forceful. He was, just beating the guy on the ball. He was beating the shell, getting to his spots. And we just have to understand going into Game 6 in Denver, like this is a prideful team. He's a prideful player. Like that's exactly what we're getting. They're going to approach this game the exact same way with the same type of physicality, force, and we can't be late to that party.
Coach,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Then Kelly.
It feels weird to ask somebody who won 68 games, like if their team is still learning how to win games, but it feels like in these playoffs, especially the way Denver's pushed you guys, have you had to learn how to win these types of battles and these kind of slower games that they've been putting you guys through?
Yeah, I think, I said this after Game 4, and I'll reiterate it now. I actually think we're a better team today than we were at the beginning of the series. Like we're definitely evolving and growing and learning, despite the fact that we think we can play with anybody, and we've had some success. That doesn't stop us from growing. This is a humble group of guys that stay grounded through the success, and that's what allows them to continually improve despite the success. And so we've had to really test ourselves through 5 games. Game 6 is going to be a massive test for us in Denver because it's on the road and because of the way they're going to play. And we'll grow from that as well, regardless of outcome.
Coach, in terms of confidence, to see a player like Shea, a young player, assume control in the second half and in the game's biggest moments, just from your own experience and your own vantage point, how do you see that pushing him and continuing to see him grow?
Yeah, Shea in particular?
Yes.
Yeah, I like our team. I don't think he had his fastball early tonight. I thought there were some plays that he could have gotten calls on. He didn't. He got hit. He went down there and played through that, and just didn't seem to be in the same rhythm and flow that he's normally in the first half. It's the playoffs. We're talking about Jokic the last couple games, but what the great players do is they rise, in the face of those challenges and adversities. And I just thought he got more and more composed as the game went on and settled into the game. And despite the fact that the pressure was mounting and it got hotter in there, he got cooler, and just kind of settled into it, made the right plays, let the game tell him what to do. He was unbelievable. He closed that thing down the stretch.
Both teams scored a lot in the paint tonight. What do you feel led to that?
Both teams have not scored a lot in the paint in the series, and that's how these things unfold. Is you get confronted with very uncomfortable problems, and then you have to solve them, together. And while we're trying to solve our problems, they're trying to solve theirs. And I thought both teams tonight, showed the remnants of that. They solved some of the things that have been bothering them that we've been doing. We solved some of the things that have been bothering us, and that's what a series does to you. It's just it's a slog in that way. But both teams played better in certain areas of the game tonight. And you tip your hat to them, and I thought we did a good job ourselves.
This will be the last question to Barry, then we have players.
Yeah, Mark. When Lou, you were down 9 when Lou made 3 threes in a 4-possession span. Clearly, the 9 points is important. You needed it. But what did that do to the rest of the guys to see Lou make those 3 shots in a short span, just from an energy and confidence perspective?
The Thunder won Game 5, and they showed maturity, poise, and a defensive backbone under tremendous playoff pressure. Shea led the way, but this was about execution, second-half adjustments, and belief. Against a veteran Denver squad, OKC proved they're not just rising, they're ready. So what did the players and Coach Daniel say post-game? And what does it tell us about where this series and season is heading? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander didn't make it about himself. He walked into the presser calm and focused, praised his teammates, and highlighted execution over heroics. Everybody played their part, he said, and called the fourth quarter a product of trust, not talent. When asked about his 31-point night, Shea downplayed it. He stated that the change came on defense and composure. We didn't panic when they made runs. He acknowledged Denver's physicality, but said OKC expected it. You know what you're getting with Jokic and Murray. You just have to stick to your principles. And when someone asked about his calm in crunch time, he grinned. We've been in these moments all year. We're built for this. Mark Daigneault came in with a clipboard and clarity. Right away, he pointed to the third quarter as the turning point. We made better reads defensively, he said. We stopped biting on the first action and started guarding the second. He admired Jalen Williams' weak side help and Chet Holmgren's rim presence, saying both were massive in slowing Denver's pick-and-roll game. He also mentioned lineup tweaks, switching to more wing-heavy sets mid-third quarter, which allowed for better transition coverage. Daigneault was honest. We didn't start the game well, but the response was mature. It was composed. He closed his segment by calling the win a collective step forward. Jalen Williams didn't say much, but what he said mattered. When asked about his 18-point, 9-rebound game, he shrugged. It was physical. That's playoff basketball. You've just got to meet it. He gave credit to Chet for battling down low and to Lou Dort for changing the game without needing shots. Jalen said the key to their comeback was communication. We started talking more, especially on switches. That changed everything. Then came the best line of the night. Asked if this felt like a statement win, Jalen replied, "We're not trying to send statements. We're trying to win the series. This was Holmgren's first playoff test, and he passed. Chet had 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks. But more than the stat line, it was his physical presence that stood out. I'm getting used to the hits," he admitted, "but I like the challenge." Chet talked about adjusting to Jokic's craft. You can't speed him up, you just have to disrupt tempo. He credited the coaching staff for showing him better angles on film. He also said Shea and Jalen have made his job easier, just by keeping things calm. Most of all, he looked like he belonged. I've waited my whole life for this. I'm ready. Lou Dort had 12 points, but that wasn't the story. Dort's defense on Jamal Murray down the stretch sealed the win. Coach Daigneault called it relentless and textbook. Dort spoke briefly but directly. You just gotta make him work. It's not about the stop, it's about the where. He talked about fighting through screens and trusting the coverage behind me. Reporters asked about his fourth quarter threes. He smiled. That's the bonus. I'm here to defend. The overall mood in the room was businesslike. No one over-celebrated. No one talked trash. The focus was already on the next game. Shea said, Game 6 will be harder. That's how this works. Daigneault reiterated that Denver's adjustments will be sharp. They've been here before. They know how to punch back. But there's belief in this Thunder locker room, and it's earned. As Jalen Williams put it, we're not here by accident. We're here because we built this. Game 5 wasn't flashy, but was focused. It was all about true discipline. the Thunder proved they can match Denver's force, take punches, and respond. From Shea's composed leadership to Chet's playoff arrival and Lou Dort's constant pressure, this was a strategic win. If this is who the Thunder are becoming, the West better pay attention, because this young team isn't looking for approval, they're looking for 4 more wins. Subscribe if you haven't already. This series isn't done, and neither is Oklahoma City.